Hello and happy Thursday. Welcome to episode 4 of Quarantine Art with Miss Mitchell. Mitchell. I was thinking, I bet a lot of us have been spending more time on the couch than we usually do, so maybe today, before we get started on our art project, we should get our wiggles out. And this morning, I heard the best song for us to dance to before we get started. If dancing is not on your to-do list for today, that's okay. You can just snap along with us.
Let's begin now. I woke up this morning and I said, instead of waiting for a good thing to happen, waiting around the ups and downs, I just said,
All right. Thank you. I needed that. Some of y'all need to calm down though. It's not a competition, okay? I'm really excited about our project today because one of my all-time favorite things to do is rip paper, and we get to do that today while we make mixed media cupcakes. Let me show you how we're going to do it. So mixed media basically just means that we'll be using more than one art supply. You'll notice that most of my art projects use more than one art supply because I love them all and I usually can't choose just one. So to make our mixed media cupcakes, you'll need some kind of heavy-duty background, either a cardstock or a piece of cardboard works great. This was a divider between a box of fruit cups, so anything that you can find that's a little bit heavy-duty to attach everything to would be great. If you don't have anything like this and you just want to use a piece of paper, that's okay too. Just when we get to the paint step, you'll want to kind of take it easy on the paint so you don't soak through your paper. You also will need a newspaper or a magazine, or I have this old atlas, some kind of collage materials for the background behind your cupcake. You'll need some colorful assorted papers, a dish to put your paint in, 2 different colors of paint, a cup with water in it and a paintbrush, some scissors, and some glue, either a glue stick or some gooey glue. Both will work. If you made it to the store in time and you still remember what paper towels are, that would be helpful as well. Our first step is to cover the background of our paper with 2 separate chunks of color so that it looks like our cupcake is sitting on a table here in the front, and this is the background or the wall behind my cupcake. As you can see right here, I used some magazine papers. Down here I used a map. Whatever collage materials you found would be perfect. And you actually can just grab your collage piece and glue it directly onto your background. This is going to be the wall behind my cupcake. And I'm going to cover about half of the top of my page in one collage material, and then I flip it over and now I can just trim it exactly to the size of my paper. I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. I think I'm going to use my map again, but you could use whatever you have on hand. Rip out a page of this atlas. Let's see where we're going. New York. Bad idea at the moment, but maybe someday. All right, same thing. Just add some glue to the bottom. This is going to be the table underneath your cupcake. Stick that on, give it a back rub, flip it over, and trim off the extra. If your magazine or newspaper or map did not cover all the way across your background, that's all right. You can use 2 or 3 different sheets and just overlap them a little bit. All right, so now I have a table and a wall in the background. Now I'm ready for my paint, and I'm just gonna do a light layer over my background. I still want to kind of be able to see some of my collage papers poking through, just to keep my background interesting. Excuse me. But I also want to kind of wash it out a little bit so that the focus will be on my cupcake. Let's see, I think I want a blue table. Oh, did you notice I used my paint trick from yesterday? After I dipped my brush, I dragged it on the side of my cup so I didn't have any drips. And I came over to my paint and I just need a little bit. Ooh, pretty. I'm just gonna paint in nice even strokes all across my table. And I'm gonna do the same thing for my background with my other colored paint. There we go. It's just a little something interesting for the eyeballs on your background. And now we're ready to get started on our cupcake. So you're gonna grab a chunk of your colorful paper. This is gonna be the base of your cupcake. It doesn't really matter what color this is because we're gonna cover it with more of our collage materials, but you can hold it up to your background and kind of make a plan for how big you want your cupcake, where it's gonna go. And then you can scooch your background aside and let that dry for a few minutes. And we're gonna work on the base of our cupcake. And I am going to choose this old magazine that I was using. And I'm just gonna cut it up into strips. And these strips are going to be the little ripples on my cupcake liner. You know that pesky paper that you have to get rid of before you can dive into your cupcake? That's what we're making here. So I'm just gonna cut about 1/2-inch strips out of whatever color magazine or newspaper or colorful paper you want. Oops. And then we're gonna glue them all over our cupcake bottom. It's okay that this doesn't yet look like a cupcake bottom. We're gonna change the shape of it in just a minute. We're just trying to get it covered with whatever color we like best. Like this. It's okay if they hang over, we can trim those off. But I'm gonna overlap each strip a little bit with the one before it so I don't see any of my orange paper. All right, now continue that all the way across for your cupcake base. Once you have your cupcake liner covered with your magazine paper, we're gonna flip it over so that we can draw the shape of our cupcake liner on this background paper. You guys, look who I just found. Gross. Look who's quarantining with me. Okay, fine, you can stay, but you can't have any of my quarantine snacks. Okay, so we're gonna draw our cupcake on the back here, and the bottom of your cupcake actually is curved. It's not perfectly flat and straight, so you're gonna draw, hey no, come on. You're gonna draw a curvy line at the bottom of your page. You're gonna draw 2 sides to your cupcake liner, and they're gonna slant out just a little bit because the cupcake gets a little bit bigger as it goes up. So I'm gonna draw a line here and a line here. And then I'm gonna draw another curved line that kind of matches this one on the top of my cupcake liner. It's gonna be a little bit bigger, but it's gonna follow that same curve, like this. And then you can cut that out, and it will be just to size for your cupcake. Now that we have our cupcake liner ready, we can go ahead and glue that onto the table on your background paper. Like so, and you still have plenty of room up here for your fluffy frosting. And then my favorite part, you're gonna grab one of your colorful pieces of paper. My friend is still here. I think cupcakes pretty much come in every color, so whatever colors you have are great for frosting. I had a piece of this shiny paper that I used for my toast the other day. I'm gonna use that. And you're just gonna grab your paper either direction and very carefully rip it into strips. Usually one direction or the other works a little bit better. Notice I'm not ripping it really fast. I want to take my time and make a pretty even strip. But usually it works better one way or the other. It just depends, this way or this way. You can test it out and see which one. Ooh, this paper is great for ripping. And I'm just going to make a little stack of paper strips, about maybe 1 inch wide. Keeping putting them all together. I have a little paper stockpile. I think that'll be enough. And then you can take your strips and you can rip 2 or 3 or 4 of them at a time into squares that are about the size of a quarter. Notice I'm keeping them all together in a nice little pile. All right, now I have plenty of frosting for the top of my cupcake. If you would like, you can draw the outline of your cupcake before you start gluing. Or you can draw with your paper and your glue just by adding dots of glue around where your frosting is going to go. And then you're going to outline that with your colorful paper. The liner's coming up a little bit. There we go. And you can glue right onto your background and then just go around and stick one of your little paper squares to each dot of glue. All the way around. Okay, next we're going to fill in the inside of our cupcake here. And as you can see, the reason we ripped our paper was to give our cupcake a little bit of texture. The top of a cupcake isn't perfectly flat. It has a nice fluffy texture. So we wanted to try and capture that with our ripped paper. So go ahead and do the same thing. You can put your glue right directly onto the paper in the background and fill that all in with your fluffy cupcake paper scraps. Okay, that looks amazing. So then you just want to go through and make sure that you overlapped your paper scraps enough that you don't have any holes in your cupcake, because that would be terrible news for a cupcake. Looks like I can see a little bit of my background through right here and right here and right here. So I'm going to go and add one more dot of glue here and here and here. Cover those up. Beautiful. Okay, our final step is to add anything to the top of your cupcake that you would like, and I have a few suggestions. You probably noticed on my first example, I put a cherry on top. That's one option. And you could just cut out kind of like a little heart shape for a cherry. And then a little green strip of paper for the stem. Totally cute. Or you could do a candle, like a birthday cupcake, and that would just also be a rectangle like this. I'm just gonna add them all on here. And then you could even cut out a little flame. That would just be kind of a raindrop shape. Oh yeah, I like that. Or another fun option is you could take a colorful piece of paper, cut off a strip off the very end, and then cut that strip into itty bitty teeny tiny pieces to make sprinkles. These will be kind of tricky to glue on. You might want to use a glue stick for this so it's not too messy, but that would be totally adorable. Whatever you think. Well, there you have it. Time flies. It's already time for our joke of the day. What do you call an island populated entirely by cupcakes? Deserted. I hope you'll join me on the next episode of Quarantine Art with Miss Mitchell. I'm going to have a special guest, and I'll be announcing the Kid Art of the Week. I'll see you tomorrow.